Welcome to our regular business meeting. We will have a moment of silent prayer. It will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which we will ask our Veteran of the Month, Sergeant First Class Retired, Ms. Brenda Pridgeon, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would, please stand with me. Thank you. It's pretty.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our August 6, 2024 regular business meeting. The first order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Do any board members have any amendments during this time?
Yes. I'd like to pull agenda item 24 from the consent agenda to the regular agenda.
Speaking, pull your mic down. All right, Commissioner Reeves' request is to remove item 24, resolution 2024-187, adoption of millage rate for Clayton County, and put it on their regular agenda. Are you clear on that, Madam Clerk?
I'm clear, Mr. Chair.
All right, so I would like to take or add to the agenda resolution number 2024-190, authorizing Clayton County to grant a special facility use request to the Clayton Center Foundation to host an event at the Lakeview Event Center. And the need for this to be added as emergency item is because we will not meet again before this event is to be scheduled to take place. Is there a second on my motion?
Second.
Any questions? Those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous. Are there any others? All right, hearing no others, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous.
Our first presentation is our Veteran of the Month.
All right, as you heard just a few minutes ago, our Veteran of the Month is Sergeant First Class Retired Brenda Pridgeon. Brenda Pridgeon, a native of Dallas, Texas, enlisted in the United States Army in May of 1978. Upon enlistment, she was assigned to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for basic training. After graduation, she attended advanced individual training for personnel management at Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indiana. During her military service, she attended Central Texas College and Columbia College, obtaining an associate degree and undergraduate credits in business management. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Human Relations from Point University. Ms. Pridgeon continued her education by attaining a Master of Social Work degree from Walden University and obtained licensure as a licensed Master Social Worker for the state of Georgia. She additionally holds training and certificates in trauma and suicide prevention for veterans and issues that face the LGBTQIA plus community. Throughout her military career, she held several positions in personnel management and more. Duty assignments consisted of serving with Headquarters Command, Fort Bliss, Texas, 2nd Armored Division, Fort Hood, Texas, Armored Division, Germany, Redstone Arsenal in Alabama, and that's just to name a few of the locations. Ms. Pridgeon retired after 18 years and 10 months under honorable conditions, holding the rank of Sergeant First Class, while assigned as an instructor for the Non-Commissioned Officers Academy at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Ms. Pridgeon currently holds membership and affiliations with World Changers Church International, Veterans Helping Veterans, the American Psychological Association, and the National Alliance on Mental Illness. She is an advocate for the Clayton County Library System, previously served as a board member, and continues to volunteer at every opportunity. While in service, she received numerous awards and recognitions. Brenda Pridgeon has resided in Clayton County for 19 years. She currently partners with the Clayton County Resource Network and Clayton County Library Service. She is seeking the assistance of Veterans Affairs to establish a countywide coalition pertaining to veteran suicide. Ms. Pridgeon is vigorously pursuing passions and collaborations for veterans in the community as a mental health advocate, coach, and educator to reduce the stigma of mental health care, especially for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. She is married to Daryl, her wonderful husband of 42 years. Together, they have 3 children, Camille, Katera, and Daryl Jr. Help me to recognize and honor our Veteran of the Month, Sergeant First Class Retired Brenda Pridgeon. Give her another round of applause.
Next on the agenda, we have our third and final millage rate presentation and public hearing. This is presented by our DCFO, Angela Jackson.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. This is the third millage hearing on the FY25 proposed millage. The millage calendar for the year, July 3rd, 2024, the first ad appeared in the paper for the 5-year history, the millage hearings, as well as the adoption date. On July 16th, 2024, we held the first 2 hearings, one at 11 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. On July 24th, 2024, the ad appeared in the paper for the 3rd hearing and adoption. On August 6th, tonight, we're holding the 3rd hearing and possible adoption of the FY25 millage. How we got here. During the budget, expenses increased and revenues decreased. Medical service fees increased $4.9 million. Contractual costs increased $2.7 million. The county liability insurance increased $1.4 million. The medical claims expense increased $1.3 million. R&M buildings increased $3.3 million. Minor computer equipment increased $500,000. Electric, water, gas, and oil increased $1.4 million. The perfect storm continued. We had new mandates from the state legislature. We had to reinstate or instate, I guess, an ethics board in which we had to provide operating funds as well as salaries. There was an increased salaries for some elected officials. There was a decrease in revenue. Public utility tax went from $15.1 million to a potential budgeted $7 million. Requested expenses from departments totaled $383.7 million. Forecasted revenue was $284 million for a difference of $99 million. $66 million was reduced from departmental budgets. The board decided they didn't want any service reductions, and if anything, they wanted to enhance services for the citizens of Clayton County. The paper advertises a 31% increase. The taxes will not be raised 31%, but by state law, you have to advertise an increase over the rollback rate. But however, taxes from last year are not increasing 31%. The millage rate last year, the gross millage rate was 16 mills. The proposed millage rate for this year is 18.5 mills. Examples, the average value of a home in Clayton is $250,000, which would be an annual increase of $261.54 or $21.80 per month. On an average home value of $100,000, the increase would be $87.18 annually or $7.27 per month. The average value of a business in Clayton is $350,000, which would be an increase of $406.84 annually, or $33.90 per month. For an average value of a business in Clayton of $250,000, there would be an increase of $290.60 annually, or $24.22 per month. Are there any questions from the board?
Any questions for Ms. Jackson?
Yes. Well, it's not for Ms. Jackson. I believe, well, maybe one is, the one regarding elected officials. Can you tell us what elected officials got the raises or will be getting the raises?
There were some of the judges in Clayton County during the state legislature that were given an increase in their salaries.
They were given an increase by,
The state, and then the county has to pay for those increases.
okay. And the other thing, if we can find out a little bit about the ethics board, the original, how it originated and who it includes. I think it, yeah. Let me get a clarity on that, please.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Board. The Ethics Board was created by the General Assembly, and there is a cost that's associated with that, or, well, an anticipated line item of up to $200,000 where they can just ask for, although if they want to ask for more, they'd have to go through the same kind of budgeting process that any other department would need. There are also 2 staff members that are a part of the reconstituted board. Now, none of the board members themselves are compensated to my recollection, but the ethics officer who kind of manages the day-to-day operations of the ethics board, as well as the assistant, are also salaried or anticipated to be salaried employees.
Okay, now does this ethics board include all of Clayton County elected officials?
No, not currently. It only includes certain officials that are under the Board of Commissioners' purview. It also, there's some tweaks that will likely be made in the upcoming General Assembly, but right now it mainly applies to people under the Board of Commissioners' purview.
I thought it included.
It does include, I believe, the tax commissioner as well, and I want to say that it also may include the sheriff, but our current ethics ordinance does not apply to those elected officials.
Okay, so this does not include the judges or
No, but the other-
legislators?
No.
The county
but
legislators?
Our current ordinance doesn't apply to them either.
Okay,
Any other questions?
thank you.
Yes. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Commissioner Reeves?
Ms. Jackson, can you provide a little more clarity around the advertised rate for the rollback versus the net increase of the millage rate? You mentioned that the state requires that the advertisement for the proposed rate is calculated based on the rollback rate. Can you explain that once more?
Yes, the rollback rate is not a rate that typical citizens see. It's the rate that would produce the same revenues on last year's digest had no reassessments occurred. So if there were no changes in the values of home, the rate that would provide the same revenue. So you have to provide the increase in the paper based on the rollback rate versus last year's rate.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, so most of the, even after that, the average citizen's what, about 6% in out-of-pocket increase?
It depends on the value of their
Correct.
home as well as the exemptions that they're qualified for. If you look at their exemptions and it's the same from year to year and there were no changes in the exemptions, then it's about, on average of a $250,000 home, maybe about a 15%.
Okay. So I guess my calculations were wrong when I did it then. Okay, that's pretty much what I'm looking at. The other question is this: to not approve this and increase this millage rate, what would have to happen in order for us to balance our budget?
We would have to reduce services or reduce personnel. Personnel makes up about 61% of our budget. And so we would have to look at either cutting services to the citizens or reducing personnel within the budget to make the necessary cuts to balance this budget.
Okay.
How much have we cut already?
We've already cut 66.8 million.
Please, if we
So-
can cut down on the talking, please, but let's be respectful.
So can you tell us some of the services that are provided that would have to be cut?
Well, I mean, we provide a wide array. It would
course.
depend on.
Just a few.
We provide police services, of
Fire.
course, fire services, parks and recreation, senior services, transportation and development, all the road projects and the street paving and those types of things, library services. It just sort of, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, at this time, we're going to have a public hearing. I have a list of people who have signed up, and let me just say this, as people come up and speak their piece, let's be respectful of those who are speaking and not have any outbursts or anyone's trying to talk over the speaker at the podium. First one up is Orlando Gooden.
Orlando Gooden, Clayton County, District 3, Madam Clerk, Chairman Turner. The 2025 budget has a $99 million deficit. It would have been $4.5 million more if Commissioner Anderson had gotten mandatory trash approved. She violated the rules by contacting the CycleWorks Trash Company during an RFP. I spoke with the representative from CycleWorks after the second plan was work session. He told me $19 a month was not sustainable. The final plan had $900,000 a year deficit with a 5-year contract. The interesting thing was, guess what district got CycleWorks? How much has the sheriff's office cost the county in legal fees and lawsuits for the 2024 fiscal year? Why is Clayton County a Tier 1? Is it because of incompetence, corruption, collusion? And we pay for it with millage rate tax increases. I have attended Board of Commissioners meetings for over 10 years. I've seen rude, belligerent, and indignant behavior by commissioners. This board approved the code of conduct based on decorum, Robert's Rules of Order, and parliamentary procedures. Commissioners intentionally violated, but I've never seen a commissioner knitting during a millage rate tax hearing. That was blatantly disrespectful.
Sandra Alexandra Hughley. Sandra Hughley. Okay. Alton Weeks. Alton Weeks.
I need to tell you who I am and where I
Yes,
live.
sir. State your name again for us, and if you're a Clayton County resident.
I'm a Clayton County resident. Been there for 45 years, same little house.
State your name for us.
Y'all are asking for a raise tonight.
State your name.
My name is Alton Weeks.
Please proceed.
Y'all are asking for a raise. I don't think you deserve one. I think you ought to give back some of the money you've already got. I have been mistreated in this county, and the last time I spoke at this microphone was several years ago. The man on the end right here had just got elected the first time. Each one who was here promised they would come see me and look at the problem that the county had created for me, between me and Chick-fil-A. I live right behind the Chick-fil-A. Y'all have demanded that I pick up their trash out of the road. You've demanded that one of you guys that run the code department told me he didn't care what I did about that Chick-fil-A trash in my yard. I can mulch it up in my grass if I wanted to. But you're going to cut your grass, the man told me. If you'll ride by my house, you'll see that he misspoke. Not the first one that promised to come see me and look at the problem has ever showed up at my house. That's been years ago. I'm disappointed in you. I don't want to think of you folks as somebody would tell somebody they would do something and not do it, but you have. The ones that were here, the man on the end, he was here, you was here, and you probably remember me. I come to see you at your office when you were the chief of police.
And I have been by your house.
And I have still got that problem. Y'all created a problem. Now, this is about millage, and I don't think that I want both of you guys to come to see me, and let's ride my neighborhood and see.
Are you on Anderson Drive?
I'm on Anderson Drive, right
Okay,
behind Chick-fil-A.
I just spoke to Code today about the property across the street, as well as the property right next door by Chick-fil-A.
You spoke to
Today.
who about that?
I spoke to a gentleman today, or yesterday, or last night, who called me on there. And yes, I've spoken to them today. And also, too, we are not up here asking for a raise. Let's clarify that.
However you see it, that's the way you see it. I see it as a raise. So anyway, when are you guys gonna come see me? Let's ride my neighborhood and let's look, see what you want to do with that money.
Of what money? I'm lost.
Y'all looking for a raise? That millage is a raise to me.
Well, the millage is to balance the budget to keep
Well, you call it
government
what you want.
services
I'm talking about a raise. So y'all promised to come see me years ago. When you coming?
Okay, we'll figure it out. Thank you, sir.
Well, look, is anybody here from the Ethics Commission?
You need to talk to
them
us, sir. You
Sir?
need to talk to this board, please, not the audience.
I just want to see if any of them's here so I could talk to them.
No, because it has been created. Thank you, sir. Chris Brook.
Chris Brook. I live in Clayton County. I just want to start by saying I appreciate the time to speak to you, and I know there's a lot of moving parts, but right now I don't feel like is the time for increased growth. I know there's balancing the budget, but there's also growth, and we're not in a time of growth, we're in a time of recession. The stock market crashed, we have inflation, and I know we're all feeling it, and we're all trying to balance our budgets. So I just think that it's short-sighted, not wise, and it's not fair to the people. That's everything.
Marilyn McCrary. Marilyn McCrary.
Good evening. My name is Marilyn McCrary, and I am a Clayton County resident of 30 years. Are we being held to a 3-minute?
No, ma'am.
No?
Not yet. It looked like you got about 5 pages there, too.
I do. Okay. First, if you don't mind, I'd like to find out how many of you commissioners actually live in Clayton County at this time.
It's a requirement.
Show of hands.
It's a requirement. We all live in
It's a
Clayton
requirement?
County.
Okay, thank you. Preliminarily, some of us are still concerned about the underhanded manner in which these hearings were made public. In prior decades, the AJC was the way the community was alerted to changes. These hearings instead went to lesser-known news media, while the $5 million lawsuit against former Sheriff Hill was AJC published as well as televised. Also of concern, Commissioner Turner said that at the first of these hearings, the commissioners don't set the millage. So, okay, if that's the case, why don't the appointees chair these hearings instead? Also, after the second hearing, Commissioner Turner was overheard telling a resident that the hearings were simply a formality and that the tax matter had already been finalized. And if that is the case, and I'm not saying that it is, but if that is the case...
You're saying I said it, and let me correct that right quick. I
Okay.
said, as far as for me, I'm not the one in my one vote to cut services or employees and
Okay.
keep them from working. So that's me
Okay.
as far as this board goes.
Okay. And so that is why I said, if that is the case, why weren't the hearings held prior to finalization? If not, it's a waste of taxpayers' time, your time, and our money. Moving forward, I have 3 major points that I want to talk about, but I'm going to go to the second and the third, and then I'll come back to the first if you still give me that amount of time. Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Be hereby advised, no one can make me believe that even before the airport became international, that all former Clayton County officials were so dumb they would agree to the airport and its lessees not having to pay property taxes. Each group of elected officials have all along and still claim that they're trying to work it out with the airport. Really. Some persons, some entities, some corrupt politicians are and have been for a long time getting money from the airport. Has anyone ever seen the county's financial report on income or the airport's financial report on expenses? It's public knowledge, supposedly. So I took a look at the 387-page Clayton County budget report. Page 32 shows a chart which lists lessees at the airport like Delta and Southwest Airlines. It shows Delta Airlines as paying 6.65% property tax. Southwest Airlines, 1/2 of 1%. And these examples are touted as 2 of the top 10 property taxpayers. Combined with the other 8 top taxpayers, their subtotals come to 11.44%. Page 33 of this report has a picture of a Delta airplane and only 3 paragraphs. But the one line that struck me was, and I quote, "The economic benefit to the metro area is estimated to exceed," listen people, $34.8 billion, but we residents are being told to pay 30+%. As my third point, Let me now address the idea of the fair market value. Prior to events which led many Clayton County residents to find themselves upside down in their mortgages, the fair market value dealt with homeowners, not the out-of-state, out-of-country investors who even today swoop in and purchase homes at exorbitant prices, way more than the homes are worth. Some of these homeowners saw it as a way out of being upside down and therefore grabbed at what they deemed a tremendous way to solve their problems and get a new home in the process. What was and is left from this debacle are the remaining Clayton County residents with homes being assessed by an unfair market value. I noted online in the tax assessor's, quote, "welcome to public access," end of quote, that the Board of Tax Assessors, an independent body appointed by the Board of Commissioners, you folks, is responsible for placing, and I quote, "a fair and equalized value on all taxable property," end of quote. But equalized value has now been changed to fair market value and has become an unfair assessment. Be advised, please, equalized and fair market are not synonymous. The definition of equalized is to make the same in quantity, size, or degree throughout a place or group. For an example, incentives to equalize funding for school districts. Fair market value, however, is the price at which the property would change hands between a willing buyer and a willing seller, end of quote. Fair market values deal only with buyer and seller, not remaining residents. Please stop treating current residents as though we have no rights and less sense. Finally, I offer to you a couple of my own observations. First, when gentrification is put into play, the actual powerful hide their hands while putting those of the racial minority in the front lines, you folks, to deliver the blows to the unsuspecting inhabitants, we folks. Secondly, I find it quite possible that those living in North Atlanta have grown tired and frustrated with the long commute and traffic congestion involved with driving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Clayton County. And so, why not gentrify? Even if Gwinnett County announced in the AJC its 6% tax rate. Thank you.
Joanne Wilson, Johnson. Joanne Johnson. Joanne Johnson. Please, if we can have quiet so people can hear the name being called. Joanne Johnson.
I'll change mine to someone else.
Okay. Diane Hannah. No, sir, you got to be signed up on this form.
I'm signed.
For you to speak,
Yeah.
not for him. Your name has to be on here, ma'am.
His name is on there. He signed it. Sean Hextall.
Well, we must haven't gotten to it yet. So just give it a minute. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane Hanna, and I'm in District 3. I represent the Veterans Advisory Board. And my reason for coming here is because I've been having a lot of sleepless nights about this 31% raise. And it's hard for me to justify, this raise when I know that we have 4,442 veterans living in this county. And we don't get that kind of raise. We never get a double-digit raise. Not to mention, I represent seniors as well, because I'm a senior, and majority of the time, we have seniors that's on a fixed income, and with Social Security, maybe they get $35 to $50 raise a year, and how are we going to make that, where's this money coming from for us to make sure we get our house paid for? And I'm just concerned about a lot of people may be losing their house pretty soon by the end of the year, because we're going to have to find the money somewhere. So I would think that if you all can just meet us halfway, try to find a way to, balance it out so, everything won't be on the citizen. That's my concern. Thank you for hearing me.
Vermeil Wineglass. Vermeil Wineglass. H. Steele.
Hi, my name is Hazel Steele. I've been in Clayton County for greater than 30 years. I've owned a couple of homes here, and I've watched the rates go up and up and up. Now I'm seeing more retired people that have been in this county for years. And just like the people before me have said, a lot of these people, now that they're retired, they're not bringing in additional money. They're on set incomes. Some of their houses, even though they're paid for, it takes money to maintain. And if we don't maintain our property, then the new people are not going to want to come out here, regardless. Because what they'll be buying is trash, and it'll have to be sold for less. And I saw the lady speak about $250,000 homes. There are homes way greater than $250,000 in Clayton County. There has been for a long time. One of the papers that was published said that 250 with the 18% would be something like $704, and she said today that it would only be 200 and something.
Where you get 18%.
From a paper that you guys put online, Clayton County expected tax increase, it said proposed millage rate upcoming 18.50.
Oh, that's the total. It
Okay.
went up from 16 to 18.
Okay.
So that's 2.5% millage increase. 2 mils.
Okay, so it says that a home that's rated at $100,000 would be $740, just for the property tax.
A year.
A year. Again, this is not a young community. This is an older community. And so you have people that have been dedicated to this community for many, many years. They've retired. Some of them have paid for their homes. They don't expect to have to pay for their home a third time by paying for millage rates. The other thing is, a lot of the streets, I hear that this millage rate is supposed to go to street repairs and street fixes. Walt Stevens, Spivey Road. It's so many streets in Clayton County that I can name you that have been needing repair for the last 4 or 5 years that have not been done. And I drive around and I'm looking at where are they doing road work, where are they doing this, and I'm not seeing a lot of road work. And I mean, in our neighborhoods where we're paying taxes and where we're doing and trying to maintain, I'm not seeing a lot of road work. And I can't justify, in my mind, continuing to live in a community that wants millage rate to go up, 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 and I don't necessarily see all the services. I don't see the money being spent in a manner that is pleasing to me. I see grass that's not cut along the side of our roads, trash on the side of our roads, and I see prisoners picking up stuff periodically or people cutting, but if you want the highest dollar, you're gonna have to. We're willing to pay for what we get. Right now, we're not getting a millage increase. We're not seeing the service to justify that. Thank you.
Harriet Hallstein, it looks like. Harriet Hallstein.
Excuse me.
Well, I'm not here for the taxes, but I feel for all of the residents here because it sounds like a lot of.
State your name and where you live.
Okay, I'm Harriet Hallstein. I'm here, first of all.
From what county are you from, ma'am?
Clark.
Clark County, okay.
I want to begin by expressing my gratitude to the leadership of the Clayton County Animal Control for allowing leniency with the euthanasia deadlines. This cooperation has helped save the lives of many dogs, so thank you, thank you. I'm not going to say a lot of things I was going to say because of this meeting. I was going to ask if there could be more employees at the shelter. I see that's not a good idea tonight. I wanted to, well, bring up some points.
Please, if we can quit talking over the speaker.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry.
Speak
Okay.
into the mic, please.
All right, thank you. There's a need to jumpstart the spay and neuter ordinances. The Animal Control Board has been attempting to establish this for a while. So, I mean, I don't know if that involves any cost, but maybe if you can listen to them and see what their needs are. Increased living expenses are making it difficult for people to reclaim their pets. Reducing the reclaim fees to $25 for the first offense and $50 for thereafter may help reduce the population in the shelter. So those are some budget considerations. Also, I had a question about why the Georgia, I guess the Department of Agriculture, they had a list of the counties that had got approved for grants for sterilization of cats and dogs, and Clayton was not on this. And you guys need money, and this is money. Like, all these counties are getting money, and I don't see Clayton on here. So maybe that needs to be looked into, because that would help. Maybe that would help cost of adoption fees or, you know, so that's, and I wanted to end with, I understand everybody's nervous about the taxes, and I don't blame you, but I want to say humans have a complex connection to canines because dogs have been domesticated, exploited, mistreated, and loved by man. It would be heartless to dismiss the unfair suffering of our best friends because they have no voice. So I hope your taxes don't go up. Can you look into this? You want this?
Just leave it with Mr. Reed. Trudy, I can't say the last name, so I apologize. All right. Please, can we,
My name is Gertrude Heinosch. I have lived in this
hold on
county
a
for
second,
7
ma'am.
years.
Hold on just a second. Because I'm hoping that everybody's going to be respectful and quit over-talking the speaker. Please, ma'am, proceed.
I would just like to say my name is Gertrude Heinosch. I've lived here for 7 years. And the few things that I have noticed as a former appraiser, what the woman said about equalization and fair market value, she's on the money. What I saw last year was devastating when I went to do and encourage others to fight their taxes and do an appeal. So what I saw were elderly people sobbing that they're going to lose their homes. So to you, $30 a month means food or medicine to them. To you, it's nothing because, let's face it, we pay your wages, so you're good. You guys are at least, 80 to 100,000 or plus. Now, I don't know if you as a county can do this, but I know when I lived in other counties, counties were able to do this. But you should look at not just raising your wages, but the residents' wages. Like they did in Chicago, like they did in San Francisco, like Portland, Oregon did on the outskirts, where the county took over and said, no, we're going to raise the wages here because you're not giving us livable wages. The other thing is that Georgia's minimum wage is $5.85 an hour. That's an embarrassment. That is slave labor. Okay, you get what you pay for. You really get what you pay for. So when we complain about services, I don't see services. I see, I see crappy parks for children not to play in. I see nothing for kids to do. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I had more things to do there. And Inglewood, which is the poorest neighborhood in Chicago when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, I had a better outcome there than any child will have here. You have no improvements in schools. I talk to residents. I don't have any children, but I'm happy to pay taxes for the future of our country. I want to support kids who want to do things. Why doesn't Clayton County have a great STEM program? Why don't we invest in computers and laptops and massive, massive labs like they have in schools up north? I don't get it. Why is it always that kids who don't look like me that suffer the most? I have watched my white privilege, and I will say that's what it is. Just growing up white is a privilege because I didn't have to get stopped by police and harassed by police like my husband does. Your police department needs help. You could fire some people. Oh, yes, you could. And let me tell you why. I have a neighbor across the street from my home who has called the police on me 8 times for parking on the street where I pay taxes, which means she has a connection because they're coming over and over, to the point where I put cameras up in my home because I don't trust them anymore. Out of the 8 encounters, only 2 were polite. Your cops are coming in aggressive and hot. My husband is a black man who is 6'8". My son is a black man who is 6'9". And I am petrified every time my doorbell rings and I see the police outside my home over a parking situation. So some of your cops can go. They can definitely go. And when I was trying to talk them down, he was escalating the situation. I recorded that. I'll be happy to show it and share it with you. I don't have it with me today. I didn't know how this procedure works. I really didn't participate because I just felt like, But no, you guys are not explaining what you're doing with the money enough. Why is there a shortage? You're overspending on something. You're overspending on something. Why don't, in times like this, people who are doing well should take a pay cut and say, we're going to give back to our residents because there's a few of you left. And about the airport, oh my God, don't get me started. When O'Hare did its expansion in Illinois, in Chicago, near Chicago, right outside, we taxpayers got money. We got a break, thousands per year. And it wasn't just the area where the airport was, it was all of Chicago. So which means they didn't care which little city you were in, you got it. Which little neighborhood you were in, you got that money, you got that tax break. To hear that Southwest is paying less than 1%, and then Delta, of course, getting the break during the pandemic, also the millions of dollars from the federal government, the PPP money, they were there to take. Everybody's here to take, but nobody's here to give. What I want to make sure that I also mention is that there is a viral police officer that just went viral for how he de-escalated a situation in Publix in Florida. I would love for all of you to watch that. That's who you need to hire. Men like him. Black man de-escalated a situation with a white woman privileged from Palm Beach who beat up a man at Publix. She was handcuffed. She was going all over the place. What did he do? He's like, ma'am, I got you. It's okay. You're just going to get in the car. It's okay. I just need your ID. That's called de-escalation. What I get from your cops is, get in your house and give me your ID. I'm sorry, but if that's who you're hiring, you need to fire them now. So there's absolutely money to get rid of employees. And when I tell you the services here stink, oh my God. What services for the seniors? What park services? What do we have for the seniors?
Ma'am, please address this board.
I just want to know what we have for the seniors, because I need it listed out for me at this point, so I know. What are we doing for the kids in Clayton County, for their schools, for their parks? What are we doing for them? Because these kids are going to be the ones taking care of us. So do we want them smart? Do we want them educated? Do we want them well-rounded? We need economics back in school. We need trade back in school, wood shop. You guys need to be fighting for things like that if we're going to be taking more money from us, because these kids need better jobs. And none of them are coming out with high school diploma. Doesn't work anymore. You can't even get a job with college degrees. I struggled myself getting back into the market. It was really difficult because I became a caretaker to my dying sister and my mother, who eventually also passed, for 10 years. So when I tell you there was no senior services for her, there were none. I could take her here and there, but not really. Nothing where she could feel part of the group, like a community. Maybe a bus would come by and get them once a week and all together go have fun. That's what seniors need because they're lonely. A lot of them lost their family. My mother lost my brother when I was 32. I'm 54 now. 4 years later, she lost her husband. 4 years later, she lost her only grandchild. 4 years later, she lost my sister. I was the only thing she had left. If she didn't have me, that nursing home that's here, I don't know if it's in Clayton County, it's in Jonesboro, I can tell you, my mother fell and they covered it up. If I didn't change her t-shirt that day, I would have not seen a bruise that was from here to her bottom of her ankle and about a foot wide. She fell out of her bed and they knew she was a fall risk. So they don't care. So these services that you talk about, we have to invest in people like myself or children that are going to take care of us, because where are we going to be? Where are we going to be if we don't invest in them? Think about who home health care hires now. Majority of the workers there are felons, and they don't do background checks. Yes, sir. Yes, I watch a judge that I actually cover, and this is all she talks about, is that this is the truth. There's just no help for seniors. There isn't. And watching them sob last year as they were coming out of the tax office, and I was encouraging them to appeal, was so disheartening for me, because I can't imagine working my whole life, paying off my home, barely making it by, and now, because regentrification is real, and white people will steal the land from you if they can, the right white people, the ones with the money, because I'm not one of those, okay? I come from a very poor background. We were dirt poor my whole life, made it into the middle class in the 90s, took my parents over a decade when we came to this country. I didn't speak a word of English when I came here, not one word. I adapted. I did everything right, and I still didn't make it. I still didn't make it. Not what I would look at my father and say, Dad, I'm a success. Are you proud of me? Because what's offered now to people like me are jobs where you're paying $8 an hour. And you want me to treat you like gold for that $8 an hour. We wonder why Walmart workers treat us like crap. I don't blame them. You get what you pay for. They're getting paid pennies to work like animals. And this is just absolutely disheartening. Again, I am privileged. I grew up white. I didn't grow up abused. I had a lovely two-parent household. We may have been dirt poor, but I had love. I had discipline. I had respect. But what I'm seeing right now is you guys are not worried about anybody here. And that's the sad part. You're very privileged sitting up there. And if you're elected, I have one more question. Do you know that every single dollar store that you have put in our neighborhood has driven our property values down by 20%? There was a study done. I actually pulled it up because for those who don't know and would like to know, John Oliver on YouTube did a special about this study, and it basically talked about a 2022 study by Clemson University found that the presence of a dollar store nearby can decrease property values by 16 to 21%. Dollar stores can also negatively impact communities in other ways, including displacing independent grocers, small businesses, those that we all pretend we support when we're running. Dollar stores force people to become, dollar stores can force out independent grocers, which can lead to food deserts in areas they occupy, which is the main problem in poor areas, food deserts. Targeting low-income residents. Stores rely on cash, trap shoppers with few options. Safety violations. Dollar Store has a history of safety violations as of blocking emergency exits and selling contaminated food. Labor abuse also exists at the Dollar Store. I can't read that because I actually Dollar stores are accused of treating their workers poorly. Please stop allowing these things to be built in our areas. We don't want another Dollar Store, none of us. If I look at another Dollar Store being built, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm finally gonna become that Karen that I never wanted to be. So, this is just my thoughts on my first meeting here. And again, I'm looking up whether or not Clayton County can raise wages for the whole county, not just your workers, because your workers sometimes are the least of ones that deserve it. They talk to us like crap when we come to the windows. We're paying money whether we're doing any kind of service, we're paying money and we're being treated like crap. It's like, hello, can we smile? Can we say, how are you? Have you had a good day? Are you doing okay today? That can make a difference in a person's life. Just a smile, just a nice greeting. You don't know what that person's gone through. I've lost my entire family. Every time I see somebody happy with theirs, I cry because I miss mine like crazy. But I'll never get that chance to see them again. So I want you to go home and hug your loved ones tonight, because don't let it be my mother who lost her entire family except me. Please don't let that be you, because if you don't have children to take care of you, I feel sorry for you, because it's going to be one of those people that you didn't invest in, and it's going to be an abusive situation.
Valerie Zanders.
Hello, my name is Valerie Zanders. I live in Jonesboro, Georgia. I've been a resident of Clayton County for 21 years. I'm going to switch the topic a little bit. I want to say, you said the millage rate increases because of the budget. And we heard it was a perfect storm. But just so you know, we have a perfect storm in all of our lives right now. Everybody's struggling, more expenses than we have income revenue. So we're experiencing the same things that you guys are experiencing. Just so you know, my day job is a budget analyst. I work for the federal government. So that's what I do all day, budgeting. So how we talk about, we're coming here, we already have the millage rate already before this meeting, and this is just a dialogue. So I guess, I don't know if you're voting today or whatever the thing is, but it's already like you already decided, so you pulled the budget. So my suggestion, it might not happen this year, but in the future, this is my suggestion. Like I said, I do budgets day in and day out. I'm balancing the total federal government. So it's all kind of money. We have all kind of expenses. I know labor is 60% of the income, et cetera. I know the whole 9 yards. But you will never see the government come and say, oh, we're raising your taxes because we can't balance our budget. You know what we're doing? We're being smart. We're saying every little region in the government, this is how much money you have. You have to work with this. Anything in excess, then we'll put it in this pile. So then once the budget is computed based on last year, the income that we know that we're going to have, not any excess. Now we're going to say we're going to pull it from wherever. We're going to say this is what we have. These are your extra projects, or these are extra things that we can do. And with that revenue, we'll put that in a pile. We'll say, well, how can we increase our revenue, whether it be user fees, whether it be whatever, senior citizen, then that's what we think. We say, well, we have this extra income, so we can use that to fulfill our obligations. If not, then that would be the time to have these meetings. You already have your budget. We're saying the same as last year. We're not going up, because to be honest, you've already gone up because the property values have increased. The millage rate has increased, so you're already getting more revenue. So now you're asking above and beyond that additional revenue, you're asking for even more. So I just feel like that is unfair to us as residents. So again, my suggestion, and I don't know if you can do it this year, but for definitely next year, my suggestion is that you have the same budget or same dollar amount, and then before you propose that you're going up on our rates, you just you say, county people, this is what we have, but we want to do these extra projects, and these are the hearings to see if, yes, do you want to do these extra projects? If so, your rates will increase. But don't already come to us and say the rates are increased before we can decide. So, and just in conclusion, I just want to say, We put you in office, all of you guys, because we knew you would do right by us and by the county. So please show us that we were right in our decisions to put you in the place that you're in. Thanks.
Sabrina Barlow. Sabrina Barlow. Sabrina Barlow. Shirley Law. Shirley Law. Mickey Garber.
Madam Clerk, Mickey Garber, unincorporated Rex, Georgia. Since everybody's been touting how long they've been here, let me say to you, I've had a home maintained for me and maintained that same home for 76 years. Now, let's get to the problem. The problem is we have a shortfall. What do we not want to do? Well, some people say they haven't seen services, but every time I go to the fire department to get my blood pressure checked, they're smiling, happy to see me, and do it graciously. Anytime I need a policeman, I call, and if I'm picking up a great deal of trash and I need the blue lights, I get the blue lights so I can pick up the trash. So I'm not willing to cut services. For two reasons. One, for the service, and the other is these people have families that if you cut them from the budget, they lose. We want to make this situation a win-win for everybody. Now, how do we do it, and what is the most need? From what I've heard in here, the most need is to the elderly and the people that are on fixed incomes.
Amen.
I'm not here to say to you that I'll be able to speak in this short time to solve all the problems, but let me say that I'm willing to entertain changing and solving some of the problems. And the first place I want to start is, again, I want to say not cutting services. The other part, on the other hand, for the people that are here that are on fixed incomes, there's a mechanism to do it. And the mechanism you already have in place at the tax office. If you're a senior, you don't pay the school tax. And also, you get to file it once you're the homeowner, you get homestead exemption. Let's just put another mechanism in place. And I suggest to you and the tax commissioner, the people that are in the most need is the elderly and on a fixed income. Let's put a mechanism in there that if you are elderly, retired, and all of the above, that you won't receive a millage rate increase or an assessment increase. Your taxes will be frozen until death takes you away. I'm not going to speak anymore because I don't have any more to say. Thank you.
Christopher McFadden. Christopher McFadden. Frank oh, is this Chris?
Apparently I signed the wrong list. I didn't come to speak, but I was concerned about the millage rate. My name is Christoph McFadden, and I am a resident of Clayton County. It's wonderful that everybody's here today showing concern. This is my first time attending one of these proceedings, and I'm glad I'm here. A lot of things are being said today. This lady, don't know her name, but she didn't say, but you know, these rates at the airports, the things that they're not paying, the amount of money that we're having to pay now for rent, mortgages. My mortgage went up $220 2 years ago. Last year it went up $110. Is really on this side of criminal. I'm not calling you guys criminal, but what government is, what is being allowed to happen is more than inconsiderate. It's just, it's more than inconsiderate. It's really criminal activity and taking advantage of just everybody because you can, and nobody's saying anything, and nobody is interjecting and saying, okay, like this is, you know, my kids are not going to be able to move out the house because for them to get a one-bedroom, okay, it's going to cost them $1,200 to $1,400 a month to do it. And most of these young people are just starting out. I'm not starting out, just starting out. And it's become difficult to pay my mortgage. And I'm about to retire. So it's on this side of criminal. The taxes that are not being paid could be money used to help the elderly, like this gentleman is talking about. It's necessary. It's necessary that the amount of money that would be generated by them paying taxes is an enormous amount in itself. Just that one entity airport that could be used for many necessary services. There was another person who spoke. Oh God, that I wanted to make reference to, and I'm sorry I don't remember now. But thank you for listening, allowing, and I hope to be able to attend other meetings in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. David Hamrick.
Hello, Madam Clerk, Commissioners. David Hamrick for Clayton County, District Number 3. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a difficult time here. Now, I wore my Olympic shirt that I got back in 1996 when I was manager for Bruno's. The good news is it was 28 years ago, and I wish I was 28. But this is what happens when you take care of things. It doesn't matter whether it's a vehicle, your house, your marriage, your relationship. If you put into it, that's what you can expect to get out of it. Now, what's going on in Clayton County started years ago. I won't go back to the 96 Olympics, but I will. A guy named Mayor Bill Campbell bulldozed Techwood Homes, one of the first public housing projects built in Atlanta, due to the fact that he did not want the world to see the urban blight and the homeless and the downtrodden. What they did do is move part of those into Clayton County and to other surrounding counties. From there, we went on an apartment building binge. Unfortunately, when you go into a growth situation, these services cost money. If your residents do not have disposable income, How are they going to support them? We need to look at this. We need to look at, as a business owner, successful business owner that had a small towing company over in Ellenwood, Georgia, off Boulder Crest, off Railroad Street. Two of your biggest costs, not only but two of them, you have labor, you have utilities. As an owner, I knew I had to pay the electric bill, the water bill, and the telephone bill. Remember, in 1990, no cell phones, no internet, but we still lived. Amazing. We still lived. And these are all excess amounts of money that each one of you are paying every month, whether you realize it or not. Some you can live without, some you can't. Some you can make more budget friendly. Let's go into that. A telephone company who uses 3 letters slowly but surely eased my telephone bill up from $15 to $45 a year. Now, as we walked into this building, on the left-hand side, there were landlines. The county has to pay for those. They pay for the increase. The commissioners did not increase those utility bills. I made a business decision, got rid of my $45 a month, put it into a interest-bearing savings account, and I want to tell you right now, my savings account is looking very nice. And since my wife is a teacher, I better correct that, because if not, she will correct me. Our savings account looks very nice. Now let's go to Clayton County Water, shall we? Hey, there we go. Now we got your attention. Now, you got a tier 1 cost on your water bill, and I washed my trucks and did a few extra stuff, so I saw that tier 2 water. When I went to cook the other day, I poured water out of the faucet into a measuring cup. I looked at it. It was clear, no turbidity, no smell. But I could not, and I wish somebody could tell me, how you can tell the difference when it comes out of the same faucet, whether that's tier 1 or tier 2 water. Just asking, have you seen how much you're paying for that tier 2 water? Yeah, that's right. They didn't increase it. You can't blame them. But look at all the water involved in this county operations. And now, take a deep breath, folks, and relax on this one, because this is really going to grab you. On the electric bill. Hey, anybody that's heard me speak as a candidate for District 3 Commissioner, you'll understand that I am not politically correct. I am going to lay out the facts, give you the truth, and we're going to let the chips fall where they may. Come January of next year, your electric bill is going up 4.5%. Think about that. That's true. It's going to be the final, 3rd installment of the 12% increase. And let me put my spectacles on here. If your electric bill is $250 right now, hang on, folks, it's going up $11.25 a month. That is due to cost overruns, mismanagement, 7-year delay, and I want y'all to know the cost was $15 billion, went up to $34 billion. Think about that. And we, the taxpayers, the users of that, we're going to pay for it. Now, folks, if we're going to bring this county together, we need to look at this as a business. Our marriage is a business. Our homes, running those are a business. This county is a business. We have to look at it that way. We also have to look at, it cannot be an us versus them proposition. I want y'all to understand something. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Elections have consequences. Since 2008, this county has been and developed into a one-party county. You had 24 people that ran for office with 0 competition. Think about that. Nobody ran against them. All they had to do was qualify, and they're automatically elected. Think about that. So you get no voice. You get no choice. You think you do. Wrong. It's not happening. Don't fool yourself. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. To do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result is the textbook definition of insanity. Now, we get one more chance in November to go to the polls. One. Over 50% of the individual houses in Clayton County are investor-owned. This started back in the recession. Remember that? Remember the subprime mortgages? Remember the balloon notes? Yeah, we remember it, but what we failed is to understand how it worked. So, since on paper for the last couple of days, and I'll use mine, it's easier, my investments dropped a lot of money. But it's only on paper. It hopefully will come back. But for the last couple generations here in Clayton County, after speaking and listening to folks, as the lady said, we have failed to learn economics, whether it's personal economics or business economics. You still have to understand, since we work hard for our money, how about let's let our money work hard for us, shall we? Let's try that. My money's working hard for me. That's what investing is. You cross your fingers, you put a little bit aside, a little bit. As they say in Spanish, un poquito solamente. And you hope it grows. You cross your fingers so when you do get older, and I'm semi-retired, I'm over 65, but I'm lucky, I don't even take Social Security. You can have this if you want it. But you have to understand, it doesn't come easy. You have to put work into it. Now, when we go back to the budget, and I would love to see that slide up again, where it has the percentages. But folks, I saw it advertised, put up on Nextdoor app. Many people put up there about 31%, and yet no one did the simple mathematics. Now, when you take 2.5, which is the numerator in the equation, divide it by 16, which is the denominator, multiply it times 100%, you come up with 15.625%. Everybody's sitting there with cell phones, you can do the mathematics with it. 2.5 divided by 16. Now, since I'm going to be truthful here, I have my tax assessment in front of me. So when y'all look at it, and I've got to address the board because that's procedure, but I'm going to hold this up. Your 40% taxable value is what you're going to pay. So you can multiply that, and this is $78,000. You'll see that it's less than $6 a month. Now, at least when setting this budget, they have pledged to finish the construction projects that are underway. If they stop and start, anybody that does construction can understand it's going to cost us a lot more money. So it's better to finish what we have, not start anything else, and hang on for better times, because remember, this increase can be rolled back, unlike your electric bill. So as I said, we need to look at this as a we situation. We need to come together. We need to be together to move this county forward. Thank you.
Veronica Allen. Veronica Allen.
Put your glasses on.
Abraham Gilliard. Abraham Gilliard. No Abraham? Avery Moore. Avery Moore. Bridget Williams. Bridget Williams.
Hi, my name is Bridget Williams, and I've been in Clayton County for about 2 years. Actually, I just signed the sheet, and I didn't really know what I was signing. But I do agree with everybody else that the taxes are pretty expensive. But that's all I want to say, that I agree with a lot, and that the taxes are high, and that we should really think about not increasing them. Thank you.
Anita Beavers. Anita Beavers. Okay, that's the last name for the public hearing at this time.
Was there
No.
Frank Martinez on that list?
So what?
Frank Martinez?
was on there. There was 2 sheets.
Okay, we're about to hold what you have. Well, hold what you got. If your name was on here, we called out your name, you did not respond, then we moved on. Now, what we're about to do is go to the second list when it comes to public comment. That's different from the town, from this open town hall meeting. So at this time, public hearing is closed for the millage rate hearing, and that's a motion to adjourn out of the public hearing. We went through both of them, ma'am. Listen. We're not going to interrupt the proceedings. I've already went through one. We're about to go on to the second one for public comments. So if you weren't on the first and second page for the millage rate hearing, then I got another sheet here, which we'll go into in just a second. Now, my motion is to go out of the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Madam Clerk, next on the agenda.
Mr. Chair, next on the agenda is our public comment section. The board will now hear public comments. Citizens will be given 3 minutes maximum time limit to speak before the board, with a total time of 30 minutes for public comments. Please remember that comments must be limited to matters on the agenda or over matters which the governing body has jurisdiction. Speakers must maintain decorous demeanor and refrain from personal attacks upon board members, shouting, and using obscene language. Please state your name and county of residency for the record. Speak clearly into the microphone, and speakers should be courteous, respectful, and not make any disparaging remarks or use abusive language when addressing the board.
Mia Ballinger.
Excuse me. Mia Ballinger, Clayton County. Good evening, everyone. We are here to address the seriousness of gun violence in our county. Recently, the Surgeon General stated the #1 cause of death for our teens is gun violence. What can we do as a county to stop or put an end to, or even slow down the rate of gun violence? Are there any ordinances, any restrictions you as a board can put in place on firearms, anything on the local level? Do we have a gun violence awareness month? If not, is it possible to put one in place? Maybe billboards reading, if you do the crime, you do the time, so that way our teens will be reminded to put the guns down. Please do whatever is in your power to protect our citizens from gun violence. To my fellow Clayton Countyans, unfortunately, I can't turn around to address you all, but if you see something, please say something. Reach out to your local law enforcement. Anything suspicious. With that being said, Ms. Karina Matthews, mother of Cameron Jones, and others are in the process of planning a peaceful rally on October 12th, 2024, in remembrance of Cameron, who was killed at the Flint River Townhome 2 years ago. Please mark your calendars. And it will be an honor if our elected officials will join us. We will definitely email you the information as it becomes available. Special thank you to Chief Kevin Roberts and the Sector 4 Clayton County Police for staying posted up on Terror Boulevard. I see you all hiding in the bushes. getting the speeders, thank you so much, but can we please have more police presence in these apartment complexes and also these gas stations, also known as the trap? Also, y'all may not like what I'm about to say, but congratulations to you, Commissioner Reeves. And between us, like I say, y'all might not like what I'm about to say, but as long as our District 1 residents are safe and their needs are met, it does not matter to me one bit if you sit back there and crochet, sing Kumbaya, play tic-tac-toe, whatever it takes. I will purchase material for you, okay? Thank you. Thank you all for your time, and also thank you for putting public comments back to the beginning of the meeting. Look at God, won't he do it?
Hello, my name is Karina Matthews, and I'm sorry.
I'm done, thank you.
Okay. Well, your time is up. Thank you, ma'am. Karina Matthews. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Karina Matthews, and I'm the mother of Cameron Jones. He was murdered in the Flint River Townhomes over a year ago. It will be 2 years on October the 10th. He was murdered. It was a double homicide of 2 teenagers. This murder impacted me and my family tremendously. It happened in broad daylight and should be this county's top priority. Flint River Townhomes has had multiple gun violence incidents prior to my son's murder, and they should be held accountable. This unresolved case has eroded trust between the African American community and law enforcement, leading to the fear and sense of abandonment. Detective Jason Gant has not called me and gave me any updates on my son's case. My son's case is not an isolated incident, but part of a larger pattern where cases involving African American victims are often under-investigated and neglected. I'm requesting this case be re-investigated and urging the board to advocate for a new thorough investigation involving independent oversight if necessary. My son was a human being who deserved justice, and no family should have to endure the pain of an unresolved loss. I hope that going forward, this board can help bring positive change for the entire community. Thank you.
Orlando Gooden. Thank you, ma'am.
Orlando Gooden, Clayton County, Madam Clerk, Chairman Turner. Before I start, let me just address this issue that the young lady used, the federal government as an example. That is the most mismanaged corporation on the planet. They are $35 trillion in debt. So I wouldn't want you to run the business like they do. Okay. Candidates for commissioners have falsified the affidavit of candidacy by lying about tax debts, homestead exemptions, financial disclosure, campaign contribution reports. Sheriff LaVon Allen received the 2024 budget of $44 million. He then asked for a $33 million additional. In April, Commissioner Hambrick voted to give him, the Sheriff's Department, $14 million all at once. Then 6 weeks later, she voted to give him an additional $1.2 million. How much of that was used to paint sheriff's cars pink, purple, green, and yellow? What was the actual cost for the electric cars with no charging stations? The sheriff has no accountability, and this board has not asked for an audit. In January 2025, Aliko Anderson will want to move public comments again. Commissioner Hambrick once voted to remove it. Several times she's also voted to keep it at the end after the vote on the consent agenda. Commissioner Hambrick, will you explain why you voted to put our voice at the end of board meetings? Hello?
Let's not be disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful. Commissioner Hambrick is the senior person on this board. How long have we been a tier 1?
Timothy Vondale Jefferson.
Timothy Vondale Jefferson, unincorporated Clayton County. First of all, I'd like to try to spin this thing on a positive note. As we move this county forward, that no matter who you are, no matter what department you work for, or what agency you work for, we have got to understand that collaboration is the new currency in order to move the county forward in the spirit of excellence. Secondly, I want to thank the police department, sheriff department, the Department of Corrections, and the Department of Transportation. Unfortunately, when you're out in the public, I work with a lot of seniors. They call me, they got issues, And the reason I do that, because for the last 8 years, we haven't had any representation in District 3. So the only person in contact is a familiar face. We don't even have somebody there to answer as a constituent aide. Now, I understand respectfully, as you're part of your duties, Chairman, that you are to oversee District 3. Unfortunately, we have some serious issues. Now, GDOT is doing construction on Highway 1941. Now, purposely, I don't know why they tore up 300 linear feet of guardrail and they tore up 200 linear feet of sidewalk. Those are funding, even though it's a state highway, it's still our tax dollars. So at the end of the day, to do a main intersection into the Walden Park subdivision. So as I address the board, y'all are limited by the state law. So as we talk about the millage rate tonight, I don't see one state representative here. I don't see one state senator. Because at the end of the day, the Governor Kemp had $11 billion surplus. Now, we are labeled Tier 1 county. We qualified for a lot of that funding to offset some of the responsibility we have as taxpayers. So I don't see a state rep here. I suggest that every citizen email that state rep and their state representative, because they are the ones who govern you guys by the state law. So that's what has to happen. So I don't know what is clarity, when are we going to get a District 3 commissioner? So and that information got to be forthcoming, because we're in a limbo right now. Secondly, we need to put together a team of prolific grant writers to go at some of this funding out there that we already qualify for. So at the end of the day, that's when collaboration comes together and that we don't have to be dependent on the taxpayers as we move forward. So with that stated, I ask you all to reach out to your state reps and your state senators, and let's get some things moving. Thank you.
Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant.
Good afternoon to the Clayton County Board of Commissioners. My name is Pat Bryant, District 3. I just wanted to I didn't realize that I signed the wrong list, because I really wanted to talk about the tax increase. I'll be short, Commissioner
It's
Turner.
your 3 minutes. You can say what you want.
Okay, no problem. But no, what I want to say, I was fortunate and blessed enough to buy properties when the value was flat back in 2010. So I was able to purchase my house for $25,000. But what I'm saying now, back then, 2012, Chairman, I only paid $400 a year. Now I'm paying right at $3,000 a year. So that's what I'm saying. If y'all could just relook and revisit the tax increase. Now that I'm living on fixed income, over 66 years old, it's a struggle like everybody get up and say for senior citizens. Thank you so much.
Al Tinsley. Al Tinsley. David Hamrick.
Madam Secretary, Chairman, Commissioners, I'm hoping to answer.
Still got to state your name and
David Hamrick for District 3. Sorry. My apologies, sir. Madam Commissioner, on Bill HB 1444, the new ethics bill, on line 289, it states that the committee members of the new ethics board shall serve without compensation. The only position would be the ethics administrator, who shall be paid. Other than that, everyone else will serve basically for free. Now, the new ethics legislation was put in. Number one, we had a conflict of interest with our chairwoman of the ethics board right now. She was qualifying candidates for the Democratic Party for this election. So thereby the people stood back and looked and asked if an ethics complaint was brought to the board, could she be nonpartisan and objective with their decisions. That's pretty much what we had driving this force to push for this bill to be passed. I hope this helps. Like I said, the only person, hopefully at $200,000, they passed a $500,000. So if the money exceeded the $200,000, the ethics would not have to come back before this board to ask for any more money, to simplify everything. Hope this helps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Having a hard time reading this name. It's either Chandler, Souder, Shanae maybe? S-H-A something?
Because they signed it.
Huh?
Because they signed it.
Chandra? Is there a Chandra?
No.
What's the
last name? It's L-I.
I can't tell what the last name is. Okay. S-H-A-L-D-E-R, something like that? Nope, nobody? Judith Cotton. And please, as we sign up on these forms, if you could really sign and make it legible, it would be very much appreciated. Ms. Cotton.
Good evening, Judith Cotton, District 4, the best district in the county. I'm here as a 23-year retiree from the United States Army, as a member of the Clayton County Veterans Advisory Board. I am here because I was here over 2 months ago asking about the HUD FAST program, and no one has gotten back with me yet, because we do not have that HUD FAST program in Clayton County. So I want to know, because I'm a real estate broker as well, and I get calls almost daily with homeless veterans and homeless people, not veterans, and we have to do something about it. We have a high rate of homeless veterans here in Clayton County, and if we could get this VASH program, which is a voucher for those who don't know, it's a voucher that HUD issues out, and they could get, a voucher to move into a house, an apartment, whatever they want to move into. But we really need this program here, and it's not here. So I just need some answers.
Well, I got an answer for you.
Ooh,
All right. No, we do not have the program, but I have spoken to the Housing Authority as well as our HUD administrator, and that's something that we definitely need to get. So we are going to be working on trying to get that. So thank you.
Okay, thank
And
you.
also, too, Ms. Cotton, on the 23rd, we're meeting again with the Veterans Administration and some of the advocates for the veterans here. So please get with me after this, and I'll give you.
I attended the meeting as well, so I know you moving forward doing things as well, so we appreciate your help with that. But we just really thank you for telling me that, because that's very important. And lastly, as a real estate broker, real estate instructor, I know about the millage rate, but we are going to have a tsunami of foreclosures here in Clayton County if we don't do something about this increase. I know it's too late now at this point, so I don't even know, it's a moot point. However, we are going to have a lot of foreclosures because there's a lot of people that's not going to be able to afford this increase, which means they're going to want to short sales and foreclosing. And that means, benefit to me as a real estate broker, we're going to have a lot of investors buying these properties. A lot of investors. I have 90% of my investors are from China. 5% from Africa, and the other 5% I could say, from New York down. So we're going to have a tsunami of foreclosures if we don't do something about this increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Hexall. Sean Hexall. Hexall. Hexall.
Hexall.
Here you come. Thank you very much.
3 minutes to walk up. Grateful to be here to see that. You're going to start my time in 3 minutes, all right?
No.
Honorable Jeff Turner, love you, man. I've known you for years. Ms. Gale, my commissioner, all the commissioners, thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak. I know that you know the severity of what it is to be over lives. I'm here tonight with a heavy heart. Many know that my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and we are in the process of receiving a healing. She has recently, God bless, been diagnosed better, but it's timely that this happens because I grew up with financial means. I had a hard-working father out the ghettos of New York City who ran for politics here in Georgia, has led black, brown, and poor people well. And as a real estate agent, he did very well for himself. And he raised his boy probably with more than I ever needed. And when I moved over here to Clayton County, I did because it was affordable housing, and as a lifelong educator, and my wife being a lifelong educator with no children, Davis, we did the best that we could, and we love living here. Gail and I have been at events before. But recently I realized that I got knocked off my bushy horse when I went to my mailbox and I realized that I had more medical bills than I did money. So I've gone from wearing Brooks Brothers suits to trying to call my brother to figure out how I'm going to make ends meet, because I think it's important to pay the city of hope, even as I look to the Lord, from which comes my help. And that brings me here tonight with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. I'm called to think about this. In one of my favorite movies, reflecting back on the millage rate, you hear the woman say to Mister. She says in that movie, The Color Purple, she says, until you do right by me, you're not going to have no luck. Let me say this, 31%, 22%, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not going to happen. And I'm saying it's not going to happen because I got one vote. I got one vote in 35 seconds. And in 35 seconds, I want to let you know that not only are we not going to experience 31% increase, but there'll be 30,000 people in this county that will rise up and make sure that if you don't do right by us, I want to say this as the last part. It's kind of endemic that I'm doing public comments because I signed up for the millage rate comments. And I'm forced into 3 minutes when other people went on for 6 minutes about stuff that had nothing to do with not being able to pay their bills. This is my time. I want to say this. The fact that we can't get 2 lists right, the fact that we don't know how to sign up, the fact that we come to a county that's a hot mess, the fact that we'll be out of town and don't want to admit that we live in Clayton because it's a hot mess. You want to raise 31%. For what services do we get? Until you do right by us. Until you do right by us. And if you don't do right by us, you won't be here.
Your time is up. Mr. Hexall. Mr. Hexall. Mr. Hexall. Clara King. Sir, we're going to have order. We're going to have order, please. Clara King. Clara King. No? Okay. Harriet Halston. Halston.
Maybe I'm a little more focused. Anyway, I want to thank.
State your name again.
CCAC
Hold on a second for me, ma'am.
Oh, Harriet.
Please, can we have quiet?
Huh?
Please go ahead and state your name again for us.
Harriet Halstein, Clark County. Again, I want to thank CCAC for extending the deadlines because we save so many animals by just giving a little extra time. I don't want to go into tears thinking about the animals that don't make it, but again, I think you really have to look at those spay and neuter grants because some of these counties got $16,000. It's a lot of money. So please, please look into that. I don't know if it wasn't applied or maybe, I don't know if it's like a nonprofit thing, but that would be really helpful for, and also since people are saying spay and neuter, any animals, please
Speak
spay
to
and
us,
neuter
ma'am.
your animals. Please, please, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Ivana Taylor.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening.
Please speak in the mic. And
Okay, I'm just saying good evening to everyone.
And your name and
My name
county
is Ivana
residence.
Taylor, and should be the only county, Clayton County. But I'm here to represent Clayton County as a whole. I know when I signed up, I thought I was signing about the mills rate. I have a problem with going up on whether it's taxes or anything when we're not getting proper services for the citizens of our county. My house and my neighbor, we live across the street from each other. Beautiful lady, because she's the only one that actually came when my house was shot at twice. My house was shot at in 2019. And I'm still waiting for the police to show up. House shot again in 2022. Kids running up and down the street with guns. The police showed up the next morning. What if somebody was dead laying there or whatever? I understand what the taxes and these mill rates are for, what the purpose is designed for, and it's to strengthen the community by putting officers in place or putting the right people in systems for the school systems to work and for the structure of the fire department so that we have services that we need as a community. But if the community is being failed by the first services that we have, what do we have? Who is going to actually look at the structure? Because obviously something somewhere is going wrong. We don't even have a street light on our block. You talking about potholes and everything else? You got houses that are sitting vacant and disarray. And where's our safety? Like I said, since 2019, I don't care, when I called, I'm from New York City. And when I called, they couldn't tell me if it was supposed to be Jonesboro or Clayton County supposed to be coming to my house. Who's supposed to service me? And like I said, if it wasn't for this woman here, the only one that showed up the next day was the fire department. What they gonna do? And if y'all want to sit there and y'all want to take this money and you ready to see services happen, get these teachers some chalk. Get these computers out of these children's hands. Because I asked a young man to spell the word laugh because he going to tell me LOL. Spell the word laugh and he couldn't spell. So, and I'm saying this because I was a former educator, born in New York.
I'm sorry, but your time is up, ma'am.
I understand.
Can I continue?
I understand,
No,
and I apologize.
No, you're good,
My
but
only
your
thing
time is up,
like
ma'am.
I said, please provide services that our citizens can actually use and be supported by.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Pamela Scott. Pamela Scott. Mickey Garber. How are we doing on time, Madam Clerk?
You got 3 more minutes.
I should have asked that before I called your name, Mr. Garber.
Mr. Garber is correct. We have exactly 3 more minutes.
Make it 2 minutes.
3.
Okay.
Keep your hand off the button.
All right, Mr. Garber.
Mickey Garber, unincorporated, Rex, Georgia. And I want to speak again about the millage rate increase on the issue that I left out. I'm so glad I signed both pieces of paper. I heard one gentleman say that we are in a recession. Well, this gentleman needs glasses because we're not in a recession. I see building everywhere. I see houses going up everywhere. I see apartments going up everywhere. Now, let me say this. With the new businesses moving into the county, with the new people moving into the county, why in the hell do we have to raise the millage rate when these people are going to take up the shortfall? Now, where is that money going? Explain to me. Everybody can put a chart up there and say we need this amount of money and that amount of money, but nobody's putting a chart up there showing the increase in the businesses and the other taxpayers who are going to take up the shortfall. Now show me where the money's at. Thank you.
Are we up on time, Madam Clerk?
We have 1 more minute.
Okay. Sonia Brown. Sonia Brown. No, ma'am, you gotta be signed. You gotta be signed up, ma'am. Chris Gallagher, and he'll be the last speaker of the night. So as he comes, if you are left on this list,
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
it's now 7:53.
that's all. I'll allow. Come on, this will be the last one. And if I got 4 names on here that, if you come to the next meeting, you'll be first on the next list.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. There, Chris Gallagher, Clayton County. Something I want to bring your attention, if you're aware of, working on the Greene County Trail next to my house from number 6 to number 7 there. You know, they came in, they had blacktopped it, paved it, then they come in and they dig up sections of it, and then they repave it again, then they come and dig up more sections, re-blacktop it, then they come and rip the whole thing up there, then they blacktop it again there, take all the equipment away, then they come back, then they're digging it up, then they're re-blacktopping it, then they're digging it up there. They've done this so many times. Now they just had blacktop about 7 weeks ago, the whole trail there. Then they came back and they're digging up this section, they're digging up that section there, and now they just came back and they just dug the whole thing up again, and they're at their transits. It looks like they're shooting. I don't know if they can't get the elevation right or not, but it's got to be cost a lot of manpower, you know, bringing the trucks, equipment in and out, the fuel, you know, all that wasted blacktop. They've piled next to my house. They're like about 20-some feet long. They're about 5 feet tall, and it's got to be a waste of money. I don't know if that's coming from us or their mistakes that they're doing, if they're paying for it. I know when I used to do construction there, that we had to be out of a building by a certain date. If we went over the contract, we were fined every day there, or if we damaged something on the job, we had to eat the material and that and the labor to fix it there. But I don't know why they just can't. You think they're done with it, and then they're either digging this section up, that section, or they're digging the whole thing completely up there and then starting over again and then patching this, patching that. And I don't know what the problem is.
What's the location of this?
It's next to my house on Plantation Parkway. It's from number 6 to number 7 hole there. We're on some Plantation Parkway, and it goes in the cul-de-sac there of Harbor Town.
Okay.
But even right now, they just ripped it all up again there.
We'll check into it, but your time is up. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk, that concludes public comment.
Mr. Chair, the board will now consider the consent agenda.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second the motion. Are there any questions on any of the items? Hearing none, those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item is item number 24, Resolution 2024-187. This is presented by our Chief Staff Attorney, Charles Reed.
Good evening. Resolution 2024-187 is a resolution to provide for the establishment of the net mill rates after credit rollback for values added by reassessment for Clayton County's fiscal year 2024-2025. To authorize the levy and collection of property taxes at such rate required by the state of Georgia to cover expenditures associated with the maintenance and operation of the county and activities necessary and incidental thereto, to cover expenditures associated with the provision of fire services, to authorize the mill rate credit rollback equal to taxes collected from the 1% local option sales tax, to authorize the chairman to execute the certification of official rates together with any other document pertaining to such mill rates, to provide for an effective date of this resolution and for other purposes. I do want to note that I think the summary, the synopsis on the agenda shows a 8.8, I think it was 18.25 mils, but it's actually 18.5 mils was the mill rate.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to approve? I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I do have a comment. Even though these taxes will not be due until December, I would like for us to immediately put together some type of brain trust to aggressively begin to explore avenues to alleviate the tax burden on our citizens, as well as aggressively begin to look at other avenues to increase our revenue.
Any other questions? Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
3-1, it passes. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chair, our next items are board appointments, beginning with item number 27.
All right, first board appointment is for the library board, Dr. Yvette Dupree. Can we have some quiet? Thank you. Dr. Yvette Dupree resigned from the library board, and her term expired on June 30th, 2024. New appointments for 3 years expiring on June 30th, 2027 is a full board appointment. And I would like to make a recommendation for Sherry L. Gates. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Are there any questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next board appointment is to the Solid Waste Management Authority. Rob Leatherwood resigned from the Solid Waste Management Authority. Existing term will expire on July 31st, 2025. Full board appointment. Are there any recommendations? Madam Clerk, hold that till next meeting. Next board appointment is to the Public Facilities Authority. Pursuant to the board's request adopted through Resolution 2024-21, the General Assembly passed House Bill 1242, creating the Clayton County Public Facilities Authority. This authority may issue bonds for public projects such as improvements. The bond went into effect on May 1st, and for the initial appointments, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 3 years, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 2 years, and 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 1 year. Madam Clerk or Mr. Reed, which one are we appointing to tonight?
This is the 1 year.
What?
For
It's District 1, but how many years?
1
What years?
year.
Is this the last one for the 1 year?
No, I believe there's
No.
a 2-year and a 1-year remaining.
Okay, so if you are ready to move forward with that, Commissioner Reeves, you need to specify whether you want that person for 2 years or the 1 year.
I'd like to hold for the next meeting for the
Okay,
appointment.
Madam Clerk, are you clear on that?
I'm clear, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Reed, is there a need for executive session?
Yes, on real estate, personnel, and litigation.
Is there a motion to go into executive session for real estate, litigation, and personnel? I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Y'all have a good evening. Madam Clerk, you ready?
I'm ready, Mr. Chair.
Motion to reconvene.
So moved.
I'll second the motion. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Mr. Reed, and please take them together.
All right, the first is a land purchase and sale agreement relating to the property at 5989 West Fayetteville Road in Clayton County, and the amount of $110,000. The next is approval of an agreement between Khalil Buckshot and Emmanuel Liriano Bermudez, Board of Commissioners, County and Fire and Emergency Services, in the amount of $85,000 relating to an accident that occurred on May 13th, 2023 at the intersection of Highway 42 and Anvil Block Road. And then the final two are settlement agreements. First is between Vincent Hansford and Levon Allen in his capacity as sheriff of Clayton County. This is the civil case of 119 CV 05746 JPBRDC, and this is to resolve that case in the amount of $400,000. And finally is Christopher Abbott and the respondent Levon Allen in his capacity as sheriff in an employment matter before the Civil Service Board, and that is in the amount of $200,000. And that's all, and also authorize the Chief Financial Officer to amend the budget to reflect appropriate revenue sources and expenses as required under the terms of these agreements.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions on any of the items? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Ms. Pam, you got something, right?
Good evening again to the Board of Commissioners, and good evening to our Clayton County citizens. LR 8864 Senior Services has received a grant from ARC in the amount of $23,209.91 to be used specifically for case management. On behalf of Senior Services, Human Resources is requesting to provide a stipend to the case managers within the Senior Services Department as listed. Ms. Sharonda Hill, 2023 supplement, a stipend, I should say, we're asking for $478.56 per pay period, and that equates to $1,914.25. That would be for 2023. For 2024, we're asking for $4,017.06. That is for Ms. Sharonda Hill. Ms. Kimberly Hutchison, who is also a case manager in the Office of Senior Services, we're asking for a 2024 supplement at $446.34. This would be per pay period, $446.34 per pay period. And the last one, Ms. Pamela Harrell, who's also a case manager in Senior Services, we're asking for a 2024 stipend of $446.34 per pay period. That's $446.34 per pay period. And I'd like to put on record, too, that details of the grant have been reviewed, and the request does align with the requirements of the grant.
Is there a motion?
And Chairman, I guess I should also say this is at no cost to the county.
Now we don't
There you go.
have to worry about my
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Board. No, thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that motion, out of fear that I wouldn't get a second. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.